Jen, and this is These House of Plants, where we talk about all things houseplant and home design. Welcome back. Right off the bat, yes, we are sitting on the floor like old times. I used to film all of my videos sitting on the floor, and that's because all of my collection is currently basically on my floor. I was watering all my plants yesterday like normal, and then I decided that I needed to rearrange my entire plant shelf, which is also pretty typical for me. But then I decided that I should film me rearranging my entire plant shelf because that might be interesting. And I haven't gotten around to doing that yet because everyone knows when you're trying to film something, it takes about 5 million times longer than when you're just doing it. So there's no plants on my plant shelf really. They're all in the containers I use to water my plants. And so yeah, now we're on the ground. Okay, so the plant we are going to be talking about today is my Tradescantia Tricolor. The last time you saw this plant, it wasn't looking very hot, and that was because I had it on this plant shelf because I wanted to give it more light to hopefully encourage more variegation, but the lighting was too strong for this plant, so it was putting out leaves that were more variegated, but it was also like burning all of the leaves. Since then, I have moved it back to an east facing window. It's been okay, it's doing better, it looks better, but I'm just like not totally happy with the lighting situation yet. I think the ideal spot for this plant would be in like a south facing window with natural lighting and not grow lights, because in my experience so far it hasn't really liked grow lights. But you know, I don't have one available right now, so what can I do about it? It's just going to have to live in an east facing window. So it's currently doing this U-turn thing because it was on the plant shelf and the lighting was above it. Hopefully now that it's in an east facing window, it'll start to grow down and less like in this fashion. It's also currently in a hanging pot. I don't love the fact that it's in a hanging pot just because I tend to neglect plants in hanging pots, and this one needs to be watered quite often. But once again, it's a trailing plant, so there's really no other option than to put it in a hanging pot. So I actually currently have mine in leca. I just put the plastic pot inside the terracotta pot because all of my plants that are hanging are in matching pots. This one has really crazy roots. Let's see if you can see through the plastic. Do you see how crazy those roots are? I tend to have to water this one much more often than all of my other plants in leca just because it has so many roots. Look at that. It's like so crazy. Oop, I'm dripping water everywhere. So yeah, it is in leca. I think it's doing really well in leca. I do think it likes leca a lot. I have both sections here where I water propagated first and then transfer to leca. I also have sections that I transfer directly from soil to leca. I can't tell the difference between them, so I'm going to assume that they are both doing well because I put them in the same pot. This is a plant that propagates extremely well. You just need to take a cutting anywhere on the stem and just put it in some water and it'll sprout like a ton of roots within a week for you. I have more sections that I've propagated that I want to also plant back into this pot so that I can fill up this backside of the pot. So because this one's in leca right now, I am giving it nutrient water every flush day whenever I flush my leca. You can see that for this one because I water it more often than I water a lot of my other leca plants. The buildup on this one is also much worse. I think the buildup on this one is also pretty bad because I switched to tap water for all my plants. I feel like if you use filtered water for your leca plants, your buildup won't be this strong. But yeah, so I give it nutrient water whenever I give all my other leca plants nutrient water. I feel like if this plant was in soil, it would not be a very heavy feeder, meaning you probably would not need to give it, you know, fertilizer as often as I am because it's in leca. I probably don't even need to give it that much nutrient water even if it's in leca, but I do because it's easier for me to water all of them at once than to, you know, mix up something special or do something special with just one plant. I don't think it's having any like adverse reaction necessarily to you know, to being fed that much. I don't know. That's something I do kind of need to monitor because I had made the assumption that most of the burning on the leaves have come from the fact that it was under grow lights. So after I've moved it to this east facing window, I'm going to have to monitor it for a little bit while longer to see if the burning on the leaves is still there. If it's gone, then we can conclude that I have made the correct assumption that the burning has come from the grow lights. But if I move it to the east facing window and the burning is still persistent, then we should reevaluate, and then I would probably assume my next step that I'm giving it too much nutrient and I'm therefore burning the leaves with nutrient. But yeah, so that's something that I'm going to have to monitor and see. I don't think you'll be having this problem at all if you're just growing your Tradescantia in soil because they seem to be quite easy plants in soil. These are very fast growers. I got this plant in a teeny tiny 2-inch pot about, I think it was like 2 months before I transferred it into leca, and now it's already like this big. It's crazy. It's one of the fastest growing plants I have for sure. In terms of humidity, I don't have this one in any special humidity at all. I'm sure would like it if you give it more humidity, but I don't think it's a requirement. I haven't really seen any issues with the fact that I've given it such low humidities. It's still putting out new growth. None of the growth is deformed. And some of this new growth is even actually quite big. So I don't think it's an issue at all that it's being grown just in ambient room humidity, which for me is around 50%. So yeah, I feel like this plant is definitely one of the plants in my collection that I'm still trying to figure out 100% how to take care of, but it's been a lot of fun and it's also a very rewarding plant to grow in my collection, so I like it a lot. Probably will keep this one around. Alright, I think that's all I have to tell you. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!